Hey everyone, KGV is the winner of the comment section from the last two videos, and that is who we're going to be covering today. That said, for those that are not sure what is going on here, please feel free to comment down below if there is a particular character memory that you would like me to cover, if I have not yet, or if it's not been on stream. I know there's a handful that applies to. That said, KGV is actually one of my level 120 ships that I have in the Royal Navy side, so it's actually... she's seen a good amount of action, and it's been fun to use her, so I'm curious to see what her story is going to be about today. That said, let's go ahead and dive right on in. See you guys in a second. Alright, another leader. Chapter 1, An Unexpected Savior. Oh, okay. Curious. Port. Uh-oh. As I opened my eyes, an unfamiliar scenery slowly began to spread before me. An ornate, imposing ceiling, a somewhat nostalgic fragrance. The opulence was reminiscent of the heart of the royal family. That was a lot of... I wasn't expecting to say that many words, like those kind of words. That I'm not a person who uses a lot of big vocabulary words, so it's kind of interesting to see words like opulence and reminiscent, but I guess that would make sense for the Royal Navy considering, well, how kind of formal and very elegant they can be, so I guess that would make sense. Anyway, where am I? Thou hast awoken at last. Is this Duke? There's only one person that talks like this. Well, that's not true. York talks like this too. But I'm pretty sure it's not gonna be York. It's probably Duke of York. Yeah, I'm not. Called it. It's so easy to tell her apart from everybody else. She's so... I don't know. It's a very unique thing for Duke of York. By the looks of things, I was taken to her room. Oh, I'm scared. I'm scared. Why am I in her room? What's going on? Prying into a lady's motives, how sinful thou art. I would be a little bit concerned if you put me in your room! Why am I in your room? It is hard to believe that someone in thy line of work would have no knowledge as to why I resorted to such forceful measure. Comments, I'm scared. She seemed to be serious, but what did she mean by my line of work? Had I done something wrong? Thy tender expression, so full of innocence and confusion, how I wish to devour it. I am still very scared. Did thou truly think to escape from me by hiding behind that woman? Whomst! Not Wales, but that woman? She can't be talking about. Commander, your deliverance has arrived. The voice that echoed across the halls belonged to that of the newly appointed secretary, King George V. The thick aroma of Duke of York's incense coiling around my senses like shackles robbed me of my defenses as she pulled me deeper into a sweet darkness, until suddenly my savior cut through it in a flash of light. Curses, why you bloody... Hey look, it's somebody else in the Royal Navy that actually uses the word bloody. I haven't seen that since Arc Royal Meta. The normally imperturbable Duke of York seemed at a loss. You can't hide anything from me, dear sister. Now, work is about to begin, so I'll have to bring the commander along with me. If you have something to say, you're welcome to come to the office. With that, King George V swooped over and... Whoa! What? Commander, hang on tight. Picked me up in a bridal carry all the way back to the... This is a reverse damsel in distress scenario, and I actually kind of find it funny. What a colorful way to start off the day. Yeah, no kidding. Jeez. That is one heck of a start for sure. I don't know what to be more concerned about, the fact that Duke of York had to save us like that, or the fact that... or not Duke of York. I've already flipped the roles. The fact that KGV had to save us, or that I'm trying to figure out why were we in Duke of York's room, and why am I scared of that? She doesn't come off of that kind of person, does she? I don't know. Anyway, Chapter 2, An Affable Personality? Port, Main Plaza. In other words, you're asking me why Duke of York is so afraid of our sister. After what happened this morning, I went to see Prince of Wales for an explanation. Why is she laughing? What? The normally unexpressive Prince of Wales suddenly burst out into laughter. Unexpressive? What do you mean? It's kind of hard to say that she's unexpressive when she hits you with that side eye every now and then when you look at her in character. There are some people I know that that don't know how to feel about it when they're greeted by that side eye. Let's see. One could say that King George V is that snake's nemesis. Oh, nemesis? Unlike Duke of York, her power does not stem from individual strength, but rather from noblesse oblige. I think I said that right. The charisma she holds over others. Oh, good timing. See for yourself, Commander. Sis, are you still hung up on that one time? No way. As long as people continue to say that I have no personality, I won't give up. I'm pretty sure you have plenty of personality. After, now that I really think about it. Before the whole buddy thing, she really didn't have much to her, did she? Now... Whoa. This is... Huh, this is different. Sis, that's what being hung up means. Precisely. If you'd like, I could offer some words of advice. You King George V from the Royal Navy. Pardon me for eavesdropping on your conversation. Miss North Carolina, you stated that you have no personality, but if I may be so bold, I would offer that your noble search for a personality is in fact your personality. In other words, you must first accept who you are before you can move forward. But who would acknowledge a personality like that? I kind of feel like that's one of the more important things in the first place. I don't know. Maybe, is it just me, or is that kind of like what you should be doing in the first place before you actually like progress anywhere in terms of that? I've never really thought about this. I've always had this like clear idea of what I want to do and what I want to be and all that kind of stuff. So I guess I'd never really had to think through this. I don't know. I'm not the best at that. Huh. Anyway. Me, of course. Huh? What's the issue? If you are looking for someone who accepts you for who you are, then I shall be that person. Therefore, you have nothing to worry about. Take pride in yourself and smile. Don't you think that suits you better? Seems to be desperately trying to suppress her laugh. Washington, please. If you put it that way, that does make me feel a bit better. Thanks for hearing me out. See, Commander? That's just the type of person she is. Her presence is like the sun, bright and indiscriminate. Whether for better or for worse, she can't stop radiating charisma. For Duke of York, this is someone who she absolutely cannot handle. Is that like overbearing? I mean, she's not overbearing. I don't really know what. I guess I need to understand Duke of York's angle better then. For once, I seem to understand what Prince of York was, or Prince of York. What? How am I doing this? I know they're all KGV class, but I should be confusing them. Prince of York. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. What am I gonna do? What is that gonna look like? Just take Prince of Wales and Photoshop York's face on it? Granted, not much is gonna change. It's roughly the same outfit. The only difference is the fact that she doesn't have the top of her uniform fully buttoned up. I guess I kind of understand where they're going with this, because it's like, you know, she's way more willing to kind of help out, do what she needs to do. You know, if someone's in need, she's willing to offer advice. Always concerned about how others are doing as well. So it's like that stuff kind of makes sense. It's kind of hard to really understand this entirety when you don't know Duke of York's angle, I guess. Her Majesty, Chapter 3. Port Royal Navy dorms. One day I suddenly hear Queen Elizabeth's distinctive voice as I passed by the royal dorms. What's the meaning of this, George? To say that the Queen was not very happy would be an understatement, and the target of her anger was King George V? I had to see what was going on. When I entered the room, I saw Queen Elizabeth flushed and sweating profusely, trying to fan her tongue as she sat in front of a plate of supernaturally red food. What is this dish? You said it wouldn't be spicy at all, and I believed you. Belle, hurry and get me water, right? She can't handle the spice. As you wish. Your Majesty, this is authentic mapo tofu recipe I learned from the girls of the Dragon Emperor. They told me that you'll stop tasting the spiciness after your mouth goes numb. Perhaps I should have relayed that message, Your Majesty. I mean... I don't think you fully understood that. Also, Queen Elizabeth can't really handle spice. Good to know. I don't know. I'm not a huge fan of, like, super spicy food. I don't mind it having a kick, but I'm not, like, any food that's centered around it having a major kick or spice, it's not for me. I mean, or at least it's already starting on the wrong foot for me. I'm kind of, I guess I'm maybe more of a mild to slight spice person. I don't know if that really makes any sense, but I'm not usually somebody that wants something super spicy, unless if that's its like core concept behind it. Maybe that's just the way that I am. So, anyway, it's funny that Queen Elizabeth can't handle this. Probably would have been a good idea. Ugh, it's so spicy, but there does seem to be a nice flavor lingering in my mouth. Your Majesty, the water. Queen Elizabeth gulped down the glass of water and immediately afterwards continued her showdown with the mapo tofu. Wait, so she's still she's still eating it, yet she was complaining about it being spicy. I like how they also said it was a match. Anyway, Your Majesty, I've actually learned a variety of different dishes from the various camps here. It's good to know that she actually is a chef, though, so that's good. Actually, you know what? Her lines actually protrude to that. That makes a lot of sense. Because I remember, like, all of her affection lines. Because, granted, I've got her at level 120. It's not surprising. It's just at affection 100. So, I don't know why she does talk about her cooking and everything. So I guess I've never really seen the fullness of this here. So, but it is funny. Queen Elizabeth's like, it's spicy, continues to eat it. 3 minutes later, after eating the entire dish, I can't feel my tongue, continues to eat spicy food. I can't feel my throat. Oh my goodness, come on. We'll talk about it later. I can't feel my tongue. Hey, there's the numbness. In that case, excuse me. Please enjoy your meal. Oh, what's this? Were you watching us? Nod. Ah, it is but a small hobby of mine. Have you heard of the saying, an army marches on its stomach? Yes, I have, actually. Having that said, though, even if we're just eating to survive, it can't hurt to make things a bit tastier, right? Yeah, I mean, if you can, if it's possible. Sometimes you really can't. It's just the way that it is, but if you can make things nice, that's always a great thing. Anyway, at the time, I swore I could almost see the warrior chief's soul burning bright in her chest, full of loyalty for her queen. I actually wonder, like, how much you can make, because it's like, it's always cool knowing how many characters in Azur are actually able to do some kind of culinary art. Whether it be actually cooking food or making confectionery or any type of sweets or something. I know some people like a certain French character who makes plenty of that. Then of course there's Cookie Girl. Anyway, the Knight Commander's leadership. When I talk to King George V, I sometimes feel like she is the de facto leader of the Royal Navy. During a sortie. Interesting attack you have there. Stay calm, make no mistakes. I shall ensure both victory and the safety of all my comrades. Even on the battlefield, she often leads the forces of the Royal Navy. Port Harbor entrance. Let's get this shipment over to warehouse number 3. Also, make sure to let the Eagle Union representative know that our joint exercise is still on for the next week. Even though Her Majesty will be out, I'll take charge in her stead. She even takes care of many of the responsibilities normally handled by Queen Elizabeth. Well, I mean, it doesn't seem right to have one person doing all of it. I mean, you could even look at this from like the the Northern Parliament's perspective. You've got Svetsky Soyuz, who handles a lot of the more diplomatic stuff. Granted, we haven't actually seen her in combat because, well, I don't think any of the story events have even covered her in combat yet. But she's been handling most of that side of things, whereas her other sisters, you know, Belarusia, Razia, all of them are handling like combat and leadership in that department. So it's not necessarily a bad thing that there's more than one person handling these kind of things. Granted, I guess from the Royal Navy's perspective, there was always Queen Elizabeth, but, you know, I guess it is kind of nice to see more than one person kind of helping out in that area. Granted, most of the I don't know, it's very weird how I guess I haven't really seen how Royal Navy handles its kind of leadership and its like hierarchy, because it's like you've got obviously Queen Elizabeth, then there's like this whole group of characters that is like the characters that are ladies. You've got the actual you got the KGV class. I think Hood is technically in the lady group. I don't know. It's not really like fully set in stone. Maybe I need to look through some of the art books. Maybe some of the art books might have more on that. But it is kind of interesting knowing how many of them have this like hierarchy. So like it's kind of very clear with like the Sakura Empire. There's the higher ups group. Then there's like Akagi and all the other groups as well. There's the Reborn Confined Fleet. They're all kind of like there's still very clear hierarchy, even if they're not necessarily all on the same page. There is a very clear hierarchy of who tells who to do what and blah blah blah. Granted, Eagle Union, kinda not really there. And then of course the Iron Blood does seem to kind of have some control over that. Granted, most people just kind of seem to be. It seems more like it's just following one person, which for the longest time it was. Friedrich, but it looks like Bismarck is starting to take the reins back, so I'm curious to see how that's going to be. But regardless, the overall like hierarchies for all the factions hasn't been fully or I wouldn't say fleshed out, but hasn't been really like stated how that all works. So we just kind of have to go off of a lot of assumptions, like who controls what, who's in charge of what. And I think the better way I can kind of see it right now is like the Northern Parliament's probably the one that we've had the most kind of idea for. Like most of the Svetskayas are the ones handling all of the major leadership responsibilities, where everyone else just kind of follows them. It's kind of the same way for the Royal Navy to a degree. You know, everyone follows Queen Elizabeth, and that's pretty much how it's been. But there's still like the different tiers of the hierarchy. You've got the Royal Maids, you've got everyone else who isn't in the maid category or in the lady or Duke KGV class. I'm not really sure where those people fit in. Now that I think about it. But yeah, there's a lot of hierarchies I'm actually kind of curious about. I like how this just spun into a lower side. Anyway, Port Main Plaza. Norfolk, is everything all right? Did you have a bad dream? I don't think so. Ah, yes, this adorable one. If there's something on your mind, let's hear it. Maybe I might be able to help. Sure. Even during her leisure time, she still helps others work out their problems or conflicts. Well, that's kind of how she is. She's always very focused on taking care of others. Granted, I mean, she is kind of a leadership character. She's not necessarily like the head, because I think that's still Queen Elizabeth. But what's the phrase? You are as strong as your weakest link. So yeah, making sure everyone else is doing well is not necessarily a bad thing, because you know, the stronger your overall group is, the better you'll do. So I guess this does make sense to a degree. Granted, I don't think she sees it that way. She's probably not just like ends justify the means, you know, she's just seen them as like another soldier. Maybe she actually relates to them more on a personal level, which makes sense. And that's kind of a good side of KGV for sure. Port Royal Navy dorms. Are you saying that King George V acts more like Her Majesty than, well, Her Majesty? While dining with some members of the Royal Navy, I candidly offered my observations from the last few days to Hood. Nod, or that isn't what I'm trying to get at. So I either say yes or no. Okay, so this is clearly got to be a choice. Let's see. Nod. Perhaps she should be more aware of her boundaries. What say you, George? That isn't what I was trying to get at all. Or trying to get at, whatever. I can't read sometimes. I sometimes add words. I don't know. Anyway, no, Commander. No. Thank you for being frank with your observations. If those were the conclusions you made, then we indeed have a problem. I see. That may not have been my intention at all, but if the commander made that observation, then surely others must have as well. As she said this, she emerged from the kitchen with plates of freshly prepared food in her hands. Hold up. There's a problem here. Okay, you guys are gonna see it, but the title of Chapter 5 here and the title of Chapter 5 in the character memory is actually different. So that's something I probably need to point out to them. Don't you agree, George? If you shine too brightly, you might find yourself eclipsing Her Majesty. Having that said, the Royal Navy is full of unique personalities, like Wales and Duke of York. Oh, yeah, they're both unique in their own ways. Being strong in both body and personality is a good thing indeed. But your charismatic personality is particularly problematic. You'll cause trouble for Her Majesty if you aren't careful. Are you trying to say that I'd cause... That's right, if you think from the perspective of others such as the Commander. Your character overlaps too much with Her Majesty's. The temperature in the room seemed to drop by a few degrees. Within the Royal Navy, we all know that what kind of person you are. You do not act out of lofty ambitions, but rather because you were born with a big heart and a sense of duty. But what if you were another leader, such as Nagato, Bismarck, Aurora, or even the command? It's weird that they would... I like how they list Aurora as the leader here. You can clearly tell this was before the time they added Northern Parliament in here, because this should be the Belarus. This should be the not Belarusia. Sorry, the Sovetskayas. Now, because I don't think I mean Aurora works as the delegate, but now that we actually have the Northern Parliament fully fleshed out, it makes a lot more sense that this will be the Sovetskayas instead, or even the commander. What would they think when they see you vying for power with Her Majesty, and how would they react to that? I don't think it's necessarily that we're seeing her as trying to be in control. I mean, that's not the way it comes off to me, Hood. When I'm seeing what she's doing, she is caring for the people around her within the Royal Navy, but I don't think she's trying to win them over to her side or something in an attempt to usurp power over Queen Elizabeth. I don't think that's how that is at all. I think she's just, yeah, as you said, she's got a big heart and a sense of duty. It shouldn't be more than that, and I don't think it's going to come off that way to me. At least from my particular perspective of this. Granted, the only person I'm more worried about is Duke of York. But yeah, I don't think you're trying to. It looks like she's trying to steal power away from her. It's just it's how she is. That sounds a bit terrifying if you phrase it like that. Wow, I didn't even think it was that serious. I merely jest. However, the problem is that the commander poses. The problem that the commander posed is very real, and in order to resolve that, Hood stood from her seat and walked between King George V and myself, pointing us towards each other before giving an elegant curtsy. You must let the commander learn more about you, George. But not as friends, nor as commander and secretary. What you two need is a much deeper bond. Oh. In other words... I think I understand. George, you'll have to show some of your soft side to the commander. Oh. This is a way to, Hood, where are you trying to go with this? Come again? Huh? KGV has a soft side? No, she does. I mean, we've already kind of seen it. She genuinely does care about people, unless that's her. Unless you're saying there's a softer side to that. I mean, like, the fact that she already is, like, taking, you know, doing what we've already seen her to do, it's already a soft side. I don't think she's necessarily... If she's softer than that, I don't know. She's soft. What is that sentence? Where is this conversation going? Anyway, KGV has a soft side? Commander, why don't you try cooking for her? I'm just like... Can't even continue thinking about anything else besides she has a soft side. No, she does. Is she softer than this? What is that question? Anyway, tonight's supper, chapter 6. As a result of Hood's proposal, I suddenly found myself trying to cook for King George V. Commander, do you know how to cook? I poured myself a bowl of cereal. Oh no! I actually do kind of know how to cook. I don't know a lot of recipes. Granted, I'm still kind of in the early stages where it's like I'm trying to branch out in other recipes for sure. But I learned a good deal of it from my time with my grandmother, and she taught me quite a bit of things, which was actually kind of handy. Granted, my parents, well, my mom specifically taught me a few more things too. But it's kind of nice to be able to, like, I don't know. I'm not a person that likes to, like, order out a whole bunch. I'm kind of more the person that's like, if I make something, I guess the better way to phrase it is I finally understand what it means when people used to say meals that you actually create and cook for yourself taste so much better. And I'm like, okay, I finally understand that because it actually, it's the fruit of your own work or whatever however you want to phrase that. So yeah, I do know how to cook. It's just, I am still in the process of learning a whole bunch of new recipes and everything that I think would be kind of cool. So, but that said, I poured myself a bowl of cereal before. Let's see what you're capable of then. I wouldn't get my hopes up. I see. Well, in any case, this is a good opportunity to learn a useful skill. I can agree to that, actually. You can always grab one of the maids to help you. Oh my goodness. With that, the kitchen became a much livelier place. I started with the basics, such as learning how to handle vegetables and eggs. Then I prepared some of them on a skillet. Are we making an omelet? Yep. Hey, look, I called it. And finally plated my freshly made omelet. I carried my creation over to King George V. I'd like you to try this. This is scrambled eggs? She poked at the dish in front of her with curiosity before lifting some of her lips. Commander, it'll take a lot more practice before you can hope to satisfy my palate. Oh no. Well, that was to be expected. This person is capable of crafting dishes fit for the queen. So of course she'd be on a completely different level from me. However, the fact that you prepared this dish especially for me is quite the delicious seasoning. Eh? King George V smiled at me warmly, almost as if the person in front of me was not my secretaryship, a knight commander, or the person of the most charismatic leaders in the Royal Navy, but rather just an ordinary girl who enjoyed cooking. Ah, so there is the softer side. And with that, I caught a glimpse of her soft side. I turned back towards the kitchen to continue my training. One day I would make something that she would acknowledge as truly delicious. Yeah, I mean, like, I imagine it probably would be a little bit fun. She seems like the type of character that actually would be kind of fun to I don't know. I like cooking too. I know she definitely does. So probably one of those things where it's like the commander and KGV are just casually cooking dinner or something. It kind of feels like something that like a couple or something would do. Maybe that's why Hood insisted that we do that, because it would kind of show the softer side of her more. Granted, she already does have a pretty soft side if she's willing to, you know, care about others, but even softer side, that's something to think. We're going back to this conversation again, gosh. Anyway, Chapter 7, Heart's Desire. Port Royal Navy Dorms. One day, KGV asked me to prepare supper at the Royal Navy dorms. My biggest test yet since I started to learn how to cook for her sake. So this supper is the culmination of the commander's hard work? Let's give it a try. Hood sized up my cooking, but before bringing a bite to her mouth elegantly. Wait, before bringing a bite to her. Why did I add a butt in there? Never mind. Not bad at all, Commander. I can taste the effort that you've put into this. Hood, I must offer you my gratitude. Oh, for what, may I ask? This whole thing, starting from the Commander's misconception, no, the fact that you recognize that I was overstepping my boundaries. I wouldn't say it that way, but I guess it might be different from you guys' perspective. Granted, that's really the point of this, I guess, is I'm gonna see it from one point of view, you girls are gonna see it otherwise. I don't recall doing any such thing. Oh, Hood, you. Yep, that's Hood being Hood. Although the Commander was the one who put in the effort, all of this was possible today because of the advice you gave. This method of yours, getting to know each other better by sharing your soft side, really worked out well. Yes, it's well suited for you. Indeed, it wasn't only our relationship that improved. When word spread that I had been cooking for her, she seemed much more approachable and relatable in the eyes of the other factions. Oh, okay. I guess that would kind of make sense. Huh. I kind of would like to have seen more and more, like an entire chapter, because this is technically the last chapter. I would have actually liked to have seen a chapter where it's like we're going through the process rather than just skipping to the end point. I feel like we would have had way more development on KGV here if there was at least a little bit of, at least it dedicated a chapter, even half a chapter, to really, the two of them kind of working together and understanding that through cooking. I think that would have actually been pretty good for her there. And it's a little bit too late because I don't remember when this was released. I think this is one of the relatively older memories as well. So we're actually starting to see. I believe in the last video with the Illustrious, you guys actually were able to see how different they handled the character memory dialogues and everything back then. And it's really cool because with Blucher we see how they do it now, but with Illustrious we saw how we did it then. And this is just kind of reinforcing that concept. And so, granted, yeah, this is an older memory, so there's not much that I can really say for advice-wise because it's not really going to make anything. But it's still really interesting to see how much that, like, even the memory side of things have changed. Granted, this is one of the more, like, one of the lesser aspects of the overall, Osling universe, but it's still something that is really nice to see them kind of refine and tweak and get better at. I mean, gosh, I mean, a good example of that alone was the Live 2D art. Their writing got a little bit better. Like, all that stuff really started to get much more improved as time went on. But it's really cool to see all this and like go back and revisit it, even if well, not really revisit, but you guys know what I mean. But yeah. Anyway, it's good to see this. But yeah, I would have definitely liked to have seen. Some of that, and the more character dynamics between like them actually training through cooking and everything. But we can continue anyway. I can't deny that. While joking merrily with Hood, she turned her face towards me and smiled. In any case, thank you as well for doing all of this for me, Commander. There's a saying that the quickest way to one's heart is through their stomach. In my case, though, you've managed to win over both at once. Oh my, huh? Okay, Commander, don't be that dense. Come on. Come on, me. Don't be dense. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to spring that all upon you all of a sudden. I can't read. I'll try to read the mood better next time. I'm not as easygoing as Wales, nor am I as forceful as Duke of York. But I'm not good at letting go of people who managed to earn my trust. She may have grown quite a lot through our time together, but some things never change. Her straightforward and earnest confession was charismatic and irresistible. I smiled at her, looking forward to the many culinary adventures that we would have together. You know, I want to take it back about what I said. about the Royal Navy not having not being as necessarily cute. It was actually surprisingly cute at the end, though. Like I said, I really would have liked to have seen. I really would have liked to see a little bit of the dynamic between the commander and KGV going through that training process. I think that would have been really good for the overall character memory, because it would have actually allowed the writers to develop her a little bit more, even if it was just for one chapter. That said, though, yeah, she kind of does have a softer side. Granted, we only got to see a glimpse of it, but I guess that is kind of the point of it. That is kind of the point of memories too, when you think about it. You don't get to see the full dynamic. Maybe you'll see a little bit of it throughout the story if they're involved in it in any way, shape, or form. But for character memories, it's a nice glimpse into the character as a person. Though I would have really liked to see them expand upon it a bit more. I don't know. It's kind of hard because it's like, I do like the character memories that Ozline has, but I had to look at how other games do it, and a good example still is going to be Blue Archive, and I think Blue Archive does that really, really, really well. Granted, the mobile talks themselves are relatively short, but they focus on the character and trying to develop them in a way that fits that really well and allows you to understand the character all the more. So when you actually do see them in the story, you understand their viewpoints and everything, and I actually really do like that. So, but this was, for KGV in this case, a lot of it was what I expected for a Royal Navy character. Still very formal, still kind of, or at least semi-formal. But it still did have a cute side to it. Much like Illustrious, there was that right at the very end, they kind of get a little, well, for lack of better terms, softer on the commander, or in this case, us, since we are technically reading it. And it does kind of give a nice door opener for them. Granted, I really wish that they had that one little scene, and I think it would have been perfect, but nonetheless, it was still a very cute story. I did see the little bit of a glimpse in there. I'm still scared of Duke of York. I'm kind of curious what she would have done if King George V wasn't there for that. Oh, man. Regardless, if there is a specific character memory that you guys would like me to cover next, feel free to let me know in the comments below. I am paying attention to it now. As you guys see, this one was the winner from the last two videos from what I did see. So let me know in the comments below what you guys would like to see next. And other than that, I will see you guys the next live stream or video that I do. Until then, have a good night, morning, afternoon, wherever you are, and I will see you guys soon. Later.